You ever notice how the days leading up to a vacation can sometimes feel, well, even more thrilling than the vacation itself? Or how that countdown to a big event is just charged with this special kind of energy? Well, that feeling, it's not just in your head. It is a powerful, very real biological process. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the science of anticipation, this hidden engine that really drives our motivation and completely shapes how we experience joy.
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with a pretty strange clinical mystery and follow it right to the core of how we feel pleasure. We'll find out what dopamine's real job is, see how the exact same physical signals can feel like anxiety or excitement, and then, most importantly, we'll learn how to actually use this knowledge in our own lives.
All right, let's dive in. Our investigation kicks off with a really perplexing puzzle from the world of clinical psychology. It's a phenomenon that honestly challenges pretty much everything we think we know about pleasure and desire.
And this is the central question, right here. Just try to imagine this for a second. You can still enjoy a delicious meal, you can still enjoy a beautiful sunset, but you have absolutely zero drive to go seek those things out. Now, this isn't just some hypothetical, it's a real clinical condition called anhedonia, and understanding it is literally the key to unlocking the power of anticipation.
And this, right here, just illustrates the paradox perfectly. Research shows, pretty consistently, that on one hand, patients with schizophrenia can report normal levels of pleasure while they're doing something enjoyable. But then, on the other hand, they show this huge drop in goal-directed behavior. So the ability to like something is still there, but the motivation to want it, it's just gone. So what on earth is happening inside the brain to cause this disconnect?
Well, to solve this paradox, we need to understand a really crucial scientific distinction. See, it turns out that pleasure isn't just one single thing. Neurobiologically speaking, it actually has two very, very different faces. Okay, so first up, we've got something called consummatory pleasure. This is that simple, in-the-moment enjoyment you get from, say, eating a piece of chocolate or listening to your favorite song. The easiest way to think of it is just liking. It's the sensation of reward happening right here, right now. And then you have its counterpart, anticipatory pleasure. Now this is the feeling of looking forward to something. It's that excitement you feel when you're planning a trip or you're just waiting for a good friend to show up. See, this isn't about the reward itself, it's about the prospect of the reward. This is the feeling of wanting.
Now, what's so fascinating is that these two pleasures aren't just different feelings, they actually run on completely different neural hardware. That consummatory pleasure, the liking, relies mostly on serotonin and the brain's own opioid systems. But anticipatory pleasure, the wanting, well, that's driven by dopamine and something called the mesolimbic pathway, which is basically the brain's main reward superhighway. And here's the kicker: a breakdown in that wanting system can leave the liking system totally fine, which solves our paradox.
Okay, so let's zoom in on that wanting system for a bit, because its main chemical driver, dopamine, is honestly one of the most misunderstood molecules in all of popular science. I mean, you've heard it 1,000 times, right? Dopamine is the pleasure chemical. But as we're about to see, that's not really the whole story. In fact, it's a huge oversimplification that completely misses the most exciting part of what dopamine actually does.
So here is the crucial distinction you need to remember. Dopamine is not about the pleasure of arrival. It's about the motivation for the journey. It's the neurotransmitter that makes you get off the couch and go seek a reward. It fuels our drive, our curiosity, our ambition. It is the engine of pursuit. And here's a quick look at how that engine actually works. It all starts deep in the midbrain, in a little region called the ventral tegmental area, or VTA for short. When you anticipate a reward, your VTA releases a burst of dopamine. That signal then travels along a circuit to the nucleus accumbens, which is what creates that feeling of wanting. And that signal then engages your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, to help you plan and focus on getting that goal.
And if you need proof of when that dopamine hit really happens, this chart says it all. Look at this. Research shows that dopamine levels don't really spike when you get the reward. They spike way, way higher in anticipation of it. Your brain finds the signal that a reward is coming far more exciting than the reward itself. This is exactly why the buildup often feels more thrilling than the main event. It turns out the chase really is more rewarding than the catch.
Now, this powerful anticipation system doesn't just produce good feelings. It's also the source of something we often dread.
So let's explore how the very same biological state can lead to two incredibly different emotions.
Just think about it for a second. That feeling you get right before a big presentation, or just before the big drop on a roller coaster. The physical sensations are, well, they're remarkably similar, aren't they? So what is it that separates the dread of anxiety from the thrill of excitement?
Well, from your body's perspective, they are identical. In both states, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, is totally activated. Your heart rate goes up, adrenaline surges, your breathing gets quicker. Your body, it literally doesn't know the difference. It's just getting you ready for action.
And that tells us that the difference isn't in your body. It's all about your brain's interpretation. The amygdala, your emotional processing center, it sounds the alarm. That creates that raw physical arousal. But then, the prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, steps in to create the narrative, the story. If it frames that arousal as a threat, you feel anxiety. But if it frames it as an opportunity, you feel excitement.
Now, understanding this is incredibly empowering. It means we aren't just passive victims of our feelings. We can actually actively harness the brain's anticipation engine to improve our mental health and build up our resilience.
The benefits of just cultivating things to look forward to they're profound. Studies show that by simply having something positive on the horizon, we can lower our stress hormones like cortisol, we can sharpen our focus, boost our mood, and even fight back against symptoms of depression. It's literally like a workout for your brain's reward centers.
I absolutely love this quote because it reframes anticipation just perfectly. It's not just sitting around idly waiting for something to happen. It's an active, really beneficial process. By planning for future positive events, even tiny ones, you're giving yourself a healthy dose of that motivational dopamine and letting yourself experience the happiness of an event before it even happens.
So let's just quickly bring it all together. We've learned our experience of pleasure is really twofold. First, you've got the liking, that in-the-moment experience, which is driven by one set of neurochemicals.
And then you've got the wanting. This is the motivational drive to go seek out future experiences, and it's powered by a completely different system in the brain.
And the key to that whole wanting system is dopamine. It's not the chemical of pleasure itself, but the chemical of pursuit, that force that drives us forward and makes the chase feel so much better than the catch.
And this brings us to one final empowering question. Knowing now that your brain is literally wired to find the pursuit more rewarding than the achievement, and that you have the power to frame that energetic arousal as excitement, what joy, big or small, are you going to put on your calendar to start practicing happiness in advance?